Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are, whenever you are. Welcome to a new Breakout Solutions, a live stream coming to you live with some Bitcoin technical analysis. Alrighty, guys. So over the past sort of week, Bitcoin has dropped from 25,200 to 22,800, and we found some decent support. That support was the point of control of this range that we used to be in previously. So we can see the point of control here, which is in the red. Let me just zoom in so it's a bit easier for everyone to see. You can see that the point of control of this old range is where we basically found support when we had this sort of sell-off. And now we seem to be having a bit of a bounce, and I have a good feeling that this is going to continue more to the upside. Just on some indicators that I look at, of course, like any other time, the price can obviously do the other way. But right now, I'm favoring us going more so to the upside than falling back down to the 20K level. The 20K level, though, is still very important for people to look out for. We do still have a CME gap, as we can clearly see here. So this gap here, okay, needs to be filled at some point. Not all gaps filled, but there is usually a good hit rate for gaps being filled, so CME gaps. So I do believe at one point in the not too distant future, we will probably get a retracement to this zone, fill the gap, and then move on higher. So until we do also have a gap to the upside. So this is another thing to look out for. So when the price approaches this gap around 27,400, I'm also going to expect a reaction to inversely. All right, so something like this, where the price will come up and then obviously reject through that gap, the same way that I expect this gap one day to be filled, and then the price will move to the other side. It doesn't mean that we always get a reversal on those gaps, but a lot of the time, the same way that these gaps get filled a lot of the time, they also do indicate support and resistance. So right now, this will be support. Right now, this will be resistance. So with that sort of marked out, let's look at why I'm feeling a little bit more on the bullish side for Bitcoin. So let me go back to the perpetual. All right, so a couple of things. My first indicator, market cipher, we can see that we're about to get a trigger wave. So a trigger wave is a smaller wave which precedes a larger wave. So for example, right here, this is an anchor wave and this is a trigger wave. So we've developed a decent enough anchor wave and we should get a trigger wave. When we have this divergence, we tend to get a very good push to the upside. So let's just quickly mark this as an example. Here is another trigger wave. Here is another trigger wave. And why this secondary circle is a trigger wave, it's because it's lower, or as in closer to the zero line, so higher maybe for you guys, depending on the way you see it, than the previous one here. Here's another example. We have an anchor, we have a trigger. We have an anchor trigger here, right there. We also have, technically, we have one here. And then we had this anchor wave right here, but no real trigger wave to follow. So whenever we get these trigger waves, we're now going to look at what the price action did at these vertical lines. So let's look at history now. So if I just zoom in here, so all these vertical lines is where we saw the trigger wave. We can see that we had a pretty good rising candle here. This candle was the first pump before we went sideways and then had a secondary pump. You can see that price rose from here. You can see that, price rose the next day from this candle. Then we went sideways a little bit more. This one was a very bullish day, and this one obviously started this rise right here. So if we do get this trigger wave, and more importantly, what I have found in history is the closer that the trigger wave is to the zero line, so if it's a very small trigger wave, we're going to see explosive price action. So that means the price could actually push up fast, and that's why I think we're probably going to hit that 28K level maybe by the end of this week or early next week. I just think that there's going to be enough money flow coming into the system that we should see an explosive move to the upside. Other things that are making me bullish is we are getting a little, a little bit of a flattening curvature of the blue moving average. So you can see where there's been a bit of divergence. So this is straight down, and then it's obviously deviated, wanting to sort of round out. So it wants to do this, right? Which would also be bullish. So every time we see the moving averages crossover, but more importantly, when we see the orange moving average cross over the blue above the zero line. So the zero line is right here. So it's halfway. So where the green histogram candles meet the red histogram, that's usually a very, very bullish sign. So we tend to see more explosive, price action. Let's see if we can see any past instances of the moving averages crossing over each other above the zero line. Well, here was one right here. Let me remove that one. Where is another time? So it hasn't happened in a long time, as you can see, because we've obviously been in the bear market. Here we go. Here's a second time where the orange crossed over the blue, even though it was a small little one. Here's another time. Boom. And here is another one right there. Now, usually we can see that these instances right here. So we were already very well overextended. What I prefer to see is something very close to the zero line. So if the blue can come down like so, the orange crosses down like that, and then we get a bullish cross like so above the zero line, that's going to be really good. So very close to the zero line across means very explosive. So here's another one. I want to see if we can find one where we got one above the zero line. So that one wasn't, that one was close, but you can see it's below the zero line. Let's see if we can get a really tight one. Okay, here's some examples. So, but we're going back 2019 here. So here's a bullish cross very close to the zero line. So that's probably the only one that I could recognize. All right, so now let's zoom out. Let's look at the price action for those times. All right, so this time, yes, we had the cross above the zero line and we pushed to the upside. I mean, as a percentage, it might not look a lot, but it was 10%. 10% is quite good. The second time was here where we had the huge bullish candle. All right, so that went up. What was the price action on that? So we're looking at 10% again. Here we had another one. So that was 7%. This was also another bullish one. I'm not going to measure all of them. And then the next previous time was obviously back in 2017. So they are rare. But as I mentioned, if we can, okay, so this was the one where I said the closer we can get those moving averages to cross over closer to the zero line. And I remember when we did this one, let's relate. Look at that crossover very close to the zero line. If we pan across to the actual number that we get on the scale here, it was at 52.9. So where are we here on this current scale? So if I remove these drawings and we're looking at their moving averages, currently at 391. So we've probably got a fair bit of room to come down. But if these moving averages do cross over above the zero line, like what we did here, it's going to be some really bullish price action. And the last couple of the last indicator that I'm looking at is the stochastic RSI is coming down to the oversold territory. So when we're down here, the only way is up. Right? What goes up must come down. What goes down must come up. So this also makes me quite bullish that we should see a bit of a reversal. Where could we see maybe some problems and where we may consider, hey, this reversal is not going to occur? More than likely, either the 786 or the 618 fib retracement. So we take the fib from high to low, like so. Now this is interesting. From this entire sideways range, we can see that the point of control is exactly where we got supported. We have the value area high and a Fibonacci golden pocket at 24,341. So I would say that at a minimum, we'll probably end up coming to this price range, and then there'll be a bit of a fight between the bulls and the bears. Will the bears just make this a lower high? All right, so because we've obviously created a high, a low, a lower high, a lower low, and now it's still a lower high. But if we can reverse the market structure, and create a high, a higher low, a higher high, then we've reversed the market structure back into the other way. But we're going to see a lot of fighting around here, or maybe even the 786. But I don't see any confluence yet with the 786. There's no other reason why I would probably go to the 786. What seems more realistic is the golden pocket, especially because the golden pocket does line up with the value area high of this entire sideways trading range. So I'll be looking to take a swing short from here. Obviously, I never preset my orders. I have to look at what the volume and what trades are occurring here on order books, and then make the decision if I'm going to short here for a swing short down to that $20,000 range. Alrighty, guys, that's basically my analysis. On a shorter scale, we can see that on the 4 hour, we are in the overbought territory. So we're probably going to go either sideways and down, because what goes up must come down. Let's have a look at the hourly. The hourly is also trending down. Looks like the MACD's crossed over. So we're probably in for a little bit of a sell-off. Where could we go? Let's do a fib. Let's have a look, and let's do a fixed range volume, and then we'll do another one from here, from the high to the recent low. To that one. Okay. So on this, just this upward movement, we have the value area high at 23,300. So what we would want to see is that supporter. So this becomes a support line. It's also a 382 Fibonacci retracement. So let me just remove this larger one. So the 382, which is bullish, if you do retrace back to the 382, you want to kind of see a push from there, and that would make it really bullish. It's also the value area high. So there's some confluence there that we should get some support, or we should be supported by the 23,318. You can already see we've already been supported once. So if we either get a secondary touch, that's probably going to create give the bulls confidence that we're going to be moving higher. In regards to the entire volume being traded since we made this local high, we can see, oops, let me just delete this one. We can see that we entered and broke through the value area low, but we weren't able to maintain a closure above this. And probably let's go to 4 hour. What's the 4 hour doing? Yeah, so we've kind of failed to solidify a 4 hour closure above that value area. So that's why we're kind of getting selling off and rejecting a little bit. But if we can come back into that value area, we're probably going to find a bit of resistance at 23,974, because this is the point of control of this entire sell-off. So we could see a bit of a reaction from that price range as well. Alrighty, I don't see any questions or comments, so I think I will wrap things up there. I think lastly, one thing I want to showcase, we do have, Bitcoin was trading. Oops, let me remove that. Bitcoin was trading in this downward channel, and you can see we obviously broke out from this channel. But if we do want to see if Bitcoin does even come down further, we could get maybe some support back down here, below 23,000, which will be the this downtrend. We might even jump up from here. On a more macro view, you can see that Bitcoin's sort of been in this other long trading channel for a long period of time. We had a couple of touches here, 1, 2, 3, 4. We broke below that, and then we sort of formed this this cup pattern. But then apart from that, it's kind of been it's been respected quite well. It found resistance at the midline, came up. Obviously, we've had 4 touches of the upper line. As we sold off last time, we did have some support. So worst case as well, so we can remain bullish. Bitcoin can sort of break down to about 22,500 as long as we stay above this channel, then things will be good. If we break down from that channel, as I said, I'll be looking for that sort of CME gap around 20,500 for some support. Alrighty, guys, that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications for our channel. We come to you live every single Monday to Friday with educational content on the weekend. But that's it from me. Bye for now. I'll catch you on Wednesday for the altcoin research finding the next altcoin to 100x. If you haven't checked out some of my previous streams, make sure you check out some of them. We've found some absolute diamonds in the rough that have done really, really well. So if you want to see what I'm investing in, check out some of my previous Wednesday altcoin live streams. That's it from me. Bye for now.